Cyclone did just that, taking game number 1 in real quick, 21, 22 minutes. We'll see if they can do the same here. Picks and bans, game number 2 on the way. The Cavalry will be on the secondary side, so Cyclone have the first pick and, of course, the first ban. And in such, they'll ban Alfreya.
Same story compared to the last time around, and I think this time it was the Bacchus ban coming out of the Cavalry. We'll see if history repeats itself this time. I think this game, the first game, dictated a style from Cyclone that they didn't care about the Heras of the world, the King Arthurs, the Pele's, because they came in with their own specific strategy. The Giannis, the Geb, into the AMC, they had that strategy going into it almost no matter what Cavalry was going to pick or ban.
Is that safe?
Right now, with how early it is into the split, I'd say so. But if this is the only strategy that they're going to show and display, that could hurt them later on as the season progresses, especially if they start coming to land.
I think one of the biggest things in Smite games, specifically right now, is the ability to adapt to what your opposition is doing. So, like you said, if you're going to start the season off by going, "This is our strategy. I'm playing solitaire here in picks and bans," fine. But I need to see this team kind of continue on this path for sure. Bans out. Cavalry doesn't want to see Spartan play that Giannis again, and I like that call. Even if you think you can beat the Giannis, which I think Giannis is a very beatable character, make the rookie play something new.
Yes.
Make him prove that he can do it, so we'll see if it happens.
And force it playing something new in the Geb as well. And I think not to allow Cyclone with the Geb and the Vamana is a good look. Having a big baby with the Geb shield on top of you later portions of the game, as if one evil monster isn't enough, you're going to have two that you have to worry about. But Hera, a god that wasn't really banned or picked in that last game, going to see a little bit of light in game 2.
Vamana, Hera, and a Muzen Cobb. Yep, that's the selection for Cyclone. And Geb, Poseidon, and Odin will round this out. I love Odin against the Hera and the Muzen Cobb. Vamana, well, he walks through that Odin cage now.
Despite having some nerfs from the Odin, I still like it here, honestly, because, like you mentioned, it's about locking down some of these gods that can't get away. Sure, Vamana can get out of it, but at the end of the day, locking down the Hera and the AMC when you don't have to worry about Giannis portals is going to go a long way. This Odin needs to come in big this game.
Huntbat's banned out again. And, I asked Ryan about it, and he said maybe it's just specific to a certain meta here. But here we see it, different region, different platform. At the end of the day, I think that Huntbats is just always going to be relevant. Huntbats and Odin, is that a combo you're still scared of in 2019?
A little bit, not too much. There's worse gods, I think, at the end of the day. I'm more worried about, like, an Odin and a Zeus combined than, like, Odin Poseidon. But I think that at the end of the day, with Cyclone banning away the Huntbats, it led me to believe that Vamana was in the jungle, like saying that you're banning away a jungler and that now you pick your jungler with the Awilix kind of threw off that, but you still have some synergy with the Vamana knock up there with his dash.
I'll be honest here, Toli. I'm not a fan of this Ganesh choice. Ganesh is usually a character that I run to when I'm looking at channeled abilities like Guan Yu's Tallow Assault. So picking Guan Yu into Ganesh is a little bit interesting. I still see no King Arthur, which I think... Can I say black and white that not picking King Arthur is a mistake?
No, it's not a mistake. I think there's just too many gods right now that saying, oh, I'm not picking King Arthur, that means like we're going to lose. And no, that's not the case. But the synergy with Ganesh, actually, just to touch on it, is the AMC Ganesh push power is almost unmatched.
So that lane going to be really, really strong. We'll see if Ganesh has the power. We have the casters, and we have game 2.
We do indeed have game 2. Cyclone up 1-0 over Benedicts Cavalry. And we'll see if the Cavalry, well, can muster this time round, because it was a bit awkward game 1. No Guan Yu in the solo lane this time. Instead, it's going to be in the jungle. Console and the Guan Yu.
His name is Daniel. His second name starts with a per. It could be Daniel J. Pernicus.
I don't know about that.
Making the return.
Is he proxying between Tier 1 and Tier 2 at the start of the game?
No, Daniel Perez is already messed up. I will say that much.
I don't see that. Let's see what happens in the duel lane, though, Taco, because the beginning of the last game, a lot of aggression between the two teams. Joltak and Axiom played aggressive last time. They've not got Gebno. Instead, it's Ganesh, someone we don't see in competitive play too much these days.
Not something that you get to see too often, but I think it's something you could start to expect to see a little bit more often. I think that if AMC continues to stick around, having the push power potential is definitely out there.
Gotcha. Okay, so basically it's allowing Ganesha to be played because of the push power?
I think so, yes.
Right. Well, Geb, and of course the Hachiman getting invaded again. Joltak and Axiom get the babies at the purple, but no more than that.
Also, Ganesh feels a lot like a response pick for the Odin, too. So there's that to factor in as well. I think that Joltak wanted a Guardian that he wouldn't just become the center of attention for picks on.
This feels like a very strange thing to see these boots 2 into full rushes so quick. I'm not so sure about it. We saw it once upon a time in the meta, I believe back in Season 2 to 3 at the World Championships where everyone was going full boots, but that's when they were a little bit cheaper. What seems to be happening here is both these mid laners starting tier 2 boots, clearing the first wave, then basing to get them finished straight away. Is it worthwhile?
The thought here seems to be, if I don't do it, then I will die to it from these mid laners. So if one of them does it, then the other one is feeling a little bit more inclined to do the same. Because that mobility, the extra movement speed can be nice to have, not to mention the 10% cooldown reduction. So there is a possibility for a Poseidon to die to a Hera or vice versa if one rushes boots and the other doesn't. Is it likely? Not in my mind, but it's interesting.
Interesting as well to see the Odin picked up by Snadows into the Vamana. Once upon a time, it was definitely a matchup that Odin would win, but some changes to Vamana actually impacted poor old Odin, where he can now get through the ring with his ultimate. Beaudilla can just turn into the big baby, walk out of it. Some of the other members of the team, however, Orignalspartan, Joltak can get out too, but Axiom, the two carries, will still struggle against this Odin.
It might still prompt for Phantom to need to be built, but having an Awilix definitely helps, and it's not like Snadows is going to have the freedom to just bird bomb in on anybody he chooses. He's still going to have to be mindful of whether or not this Awilix might be lurking the corners.
Bit of a lurk in the corners from Sternhawk here as he rotates round. No Kraken available, just a Whirlpool. But the beatdown on Axiom is pretty good with the Trident, still giving chase for the sprint. Hits over the win. Oh my god, they both connect to the same tackle. Both the Tidal Surge and the Hachiman banner connected, and that's why Axiom disappeared. He juked into the Tidal Wave.
That's probably the best synergy I've seen from Benedicts the entire set so far, and that's promising because we're only 3 minutes deep into Game 2. They might have been able to shake everything out in Game 1. That one might have just gotten a little bit away from them. Forcing out the beads, though, on Poseidon is important when you factor in how much dive capability this Cyclone roster has, because you've got the Vamana, there's also Argus on Hera. That cooldown is...
Oh, big lead here actually for Snadows because Beaudilla doesn't have level 5 yet, but the ring cooldown is required. Level it up for more seconds. That's what you need right now. Wasn't enough time to kill the baby, and now Beaudilla will be able to return to base, teleport back, and have his own ultimate online, and reduces the effect of Snadows.
I think Snadows might have expected to be dealing a little bit more damage there. Benedicts, though, getting frisky in Cyclone's jungle, and touching back on what I was really saying for forcing out the Argus, forcing out the beads. Sternhawk's pretty easy to collapse on. I think that should be the focus here from Cyclone, is Poseidon without his Kraken. He's just swimming.
Just swimming. Oh, just farming in the mid lane. I will say, though, I love the rotation at Sternhawk. Early on, get his team the lead in the lane that struggled last time round against the AMC from Axiom. Keep the pressure going where possible. But I don't think it'll be that simple now. Now that Benedicts have done it once, Orignalspartan should be a little bit more wary of informing his team that the mid lane is missing.
But this is where Guan Yu jungle becomes problematic for me, Hindu, because so far, Guan has not had a single opportunity to really do much of anything here for Benedicts Cavalry. And not only that, but Axiom last game, one of the big things we touched on was that this AMC got to just do whatever the hell he wanted for the entirety of the match, and Mystic Salmon needed a little bit of assistance there, to which no one on his team provided. And so to take the Guan Yu again into the jungle against this AMC, I just think the same thing is going to happen here eventually over time, where Axiom is just going to free farm until he eventually reaches a point where he is out of control, and Benedicts, whether they want to collapse him or not, is irrelevant. He's just going to deal too much damage.
Well, maybe, though, Mystic Salmon can get a bit of a better game this time for himself, too. Obviously, he's got himself the first kill, thanks to the rotation out of Sternhawk and that Poseidon. But we'll see if he can just stabilize the lead and come to the fights himself in a relatively decent position. Hachiman on the Geb, though, level 5 at the moment. Got his reinforced Greaves online, as has Joltak on the Ganesha. We'll see where the action starts to unfold. Doesn't look like MySweetPatato here. Again, he's going for the Blackthorn Hammer, do you think, on this Awilix? Or is it going to be the Runeforged?
Could be either or,
Yeah.
I think.
Cooldown obviously is 1 and health, and then, you know, Runeforged CC means you do more damage.
Awilix's kit is kind of awkward CC though because it's so fast. Kraken though going to be avoided thanks to a Feather Step. Jump on out of there with Suku, but you can't jump away from the Hachiman. Mystic Salmon looking to punish.
Oh, and the speed buff will get him away from the danger for now, but Houseplant's also in trouble. Mystic Salmon overextended, and Axiom brings him down with a stinger and a couple of basics too. Perez trying to stay in the action, but August giving him a good old beatdown and making sure you don't come across the mid lane anytime soon. 1 kill. Mystic Salmon's the one that dropped down, and actually it was Benedicts Cavalry that the ones that initiated that fight.
Team fight just so spread out though. 2 different targets of focus from both sides, except that Cyclone was better able to handle theirs.
Good turn from Daniel, but not enough for the stun, and the beads were also used anyway from Spot to make sure he lived, and then goes Joltak in to make sure he secures it. Spartan picks up the kill. Sternhawk there to support the Guan Yu. The risky play did not really work out, Taco.
Sternhawk was just cornered. That's all it came down to. And the Guan Yu, he kind of just said, hey, what's up, and then left.
I mean, he had his ult, right? So he's like, okay, I know.
But he baited his mid laner, I feel.
That's a classic thing, though, of jungle gank sometimes, where you bait your teammates into getting a fight that they don't want to. Uh-oh, Salmon. Don't want to be over here right now. This river's not for you. He's going to dash back to tower in time. That'll be a forced base more than likely, just as this red buff is about to spawn. Actually, tell a lie, it's just gone down already. Spartan has it, but Spartan's trying to get away from Daniel and will do so.
And that was yet another reason to like this Ganesh pick, by the way. The silence onto the Taulo Assault. I think that if Joltak continues to hold the silence for this Guan Yu, Daniel is going to have a rough time trying to make Jungle Guan work.
Real shame Benedicts Cavalry. I'm not sure if they got the red buff timer on this left-hand side because Cyclone just stole theirs. But if they can come over here right now, a couple of members of Cyclone do have to go back to base. But Potato will be there on his own, enough time to clear it down. And Benedicts lose an opportunity to even it up.
Trying to out-secure an Awilix, who's level 8, is...
hard time.
It hurts. Feather Step should have 4 points in it by now. If MySweetPatato is leveling like most Awilixes would, and it's just too easy to confirm. The Feather Step at 4 points will bring the buff down to an auto or a single ability, so there's just like no reason trying to steal.
So for that Rising Jaguar after the fact was enough to secure right-hand side. Big grouping from Cyclone at the moment. Multiple members on this right-hand side. Not exactly sure why. A lot of ward coverage too. But they could be setting up for a trap in mid. Sternhawk already gone on the left, but over the wall. SweetPatato picks up Daniel, and Daniel doesn't like this at all. Cavalry charge out, avoids the Argus, but an ult for ult exchange, if anything, pays off in Cyclone's favor.
It was MySweetPatato just trying to see what they could force, and to get the Guan Yu ult is massive because they also forced the back, which means that Oracles are now ripe for the taking, and that could have led into more, but I think MySweetPatato and Joltak.
The bait was there. Joltak round the corner, drops the pillar. Kraken too. SweetPatato gets the kill onto Sternhawk, and Houseplant can only watch. He'll survive for the time being, but he was brutalized down himself, not by a Fenrir, just by Cyclone themselves. And guess what, Taco? Red buff's up again. It's not anymore.
It's the timing that you have to also look towards here, because every single one of these picks is taking place right as buffs are about to spawn or right after buffs have just freshly spawned. So Benedicts every single time aren't really getting a moment to think about whether they want to try and defend their jungle or just look to survive and counter-initiate in the team fight.
Spartan nearly got a pick-up kill onto the Geb them for a second. Houseplant took a bit too much time too far forward as Snadows working away on the totem of Coup. That'll be 25 Gs in the pocket of all his teammates, as well as some movement speed and MP5 again. Not ridiculous to lose a couple of those, but it can be impactful if you get multiple over and over again.
It seems like it's been a pretty healthy spread between both teams. I think that the Odin hasn't really had a chance to contest. I'll hold that thought though. Knock up onto the Guan Yu. He's trying to escape right now on the cavalry charge into the T1 tower. Looks cool, but
I'm pretty sure Argus knocked him up, which allowed SweetPatato to land the ult off that, which is dope. That's really cool. That's like hitting a Kraken into an Awilix ult as well. You just get a small knock-up window, and it was good enough for SweetPatato to be fast with his fingers on those triggers to make sure he pulled it at the right time.
That's just what's possible with a good team full of communication, and We've been over this a couple of times already, but it can't be said enough. Cyclone, that experience, the player experience that all these players have alone for a competitive play is the reason why I don't think we're seeing them struggle nearly as much as Benedict's Cavalry for their synergy.
I mean, it's looking like Cyclone are in control at the moment, but overall, the lead isn't monumental. It's 11 minutes in, it's about 1,500 gold, give or take. Gold Fury is still alive. And if they keep fighting, there's a chance they can make a mistake. Spartan in the mid lane may have made that mistake by being trapped in the ring from the Odin rotation, as all 5 members of the Benedict's Cavalry turn up and bring down 2 members of Cyclone. Gold Fury could be on the cards here.
I think that was Orignalspartan letting the lead play him. He kind of overestimated just how much he could really absorb, or maybe he just wasn't. I think that was an instance of him not respecting Benedict's Cavalry enough.
But I think this is a little slow from Benedict's here. They take a long time to get to the Gold Fury after the fact. Starting it up now, 3 members of Cyclone here. SmiteVOD going straight for Sternhawk on the back line. The Feather Step was good, the shield was better, the Kraken hurt too, and Sternhawk will survive, but AxiomSpeed is picking up kills and trying to run away from a Guan Yu. He stops the Gold Fury, however, 2 for 2 in the skirmish after the fact.
Axiom already killed who he needed to, though. Mystic Salmon, without that Hachiman, Benedicts is not going to be able to push for this Gold Fury, and even better still, Beaudilla is just going to take the T1 tower anyway because he's a solo laner, and absorbing a shot or 2 isn't going to hurt him for bringing down a T1 siege. So that fight, automatically, Benedicts were the ones that started out with the picks, but it's Cyclone who get an objective after the play.
Yeah, and the objectives are always going to be the things that add to the totals too. Cyclone got caught napping a little bit, lost 2 lives, and then, well, Benedict took a little bit too long to do the goal. Now Sternhawk could be in trouble. Shield came out, good knock-up from as well from the Geb, trying to get away, but Houseplant's in trouble. Meanwhile, on the backside, Spartan taking him on, but I don't think he'll find the kill. Oh no, the fists from Argus will be good enough, as now Orignalspartan takes on Mystic Salmon, and Argus once again blocks him down. SmitePatato does pick up the kill on Houseplant, and I don't think Orignalspartan's done just yet. Him and Argus going at it again. Tries to box the basics through, but Argus just stands there and tanks for half a year. Another kill for Cyclone.
I'm pretty sure that Aijitsu was still on cooldown. Otherwise, I can't really see much reason for Mystic Salmon to not go in there. Sentry Ward or not, Cyclone could care less because there's no one left to defend this Gold Fury, even if Benedict's Cavalry wanted to. Those 2 picks that they got leading straight into Orignalspartan's great play. I just think that Cyclone are doing such a phenomenal job at forcing Benedicts to just keep reeling in every which direction. It feels like they're just being pulled all over the place.
Sternhawk trying to contest his own red and secure it for himself. I'm sure it's going to be the case as now Joltak hung around a little bit long, but Geb's trying to get away again, rolls straight into Spartan, but luckily enough the immunity was there to protect him. But after the fact, Stern, oh, just avoid the fists. Being collapsed in from Argus.
And I haven't touched on this just yet, but losing that T1 tower is also bad for Benedicts because now Axiom is free to rotate with his team and group up for even more tower sieges. Straight to the backline goes MySweetPatato off of the blink. Kraken is good though, and MySweetPatato will end up falling.
Daniel did enough there on the Guan Yu just to walk in and disrupt the other 3 members from joining in the fight from Cyclone. And in the end, SmitePatato went too deep on his own, ends up paying with his life. Great work from Benedicts there, keep their tier 1 alive and answer the 5-man grouping from Cyclone for now, but Beaudilla's still just happy to hang around the front line.
But look at the experience spread for both of these teams, Hindu. Slowly but surely, the level gaps are starting to develop, and I know for the jungle, MySweetPatato's death just gave Daniel Perez a little bit of an advantage here, but in the mid lane, 2-level lead. Dual lane is the same exact case here, and I just can't help but feel like if Benedicts don't look to collapse on Orignalspartan or Axiom soon rather than later, I think that this one's just going to start to run away from them.
Yeah, not in terms of experience or gold, just in terms of relics is the situation right now. Obviously, Sternhawk hasn't based just yet to pick his up, but the fact Hachiman has only just got his online too was a window there for Cyclone to look to punish. Won't be as easy anytime soon. Gold lead about 3,000 as it stands. And the Gold Fury was the only one we've seen so far, Taco, but now we can actually talk a little bit about the other 2 Gold Furies we've got this year. The Primal and the Onion. And I believe the next one up is going to be Primal because it's green. That's what I'm learning. I'm getting there slowly. What do we think about the Primal? Is it worthwhile?
Primal is worthwhile in the early games just because it's an objective to fight over, which is always a plus if you're a team with a big advantage, like what we see here. MySweetPatato doesn't even...
He avoided the Kraken. That's the main thing to do.
I mean, you forget the Kraken even happened.
Yeah, you just didn't see it. You didn't even need the beads or anything. Axiom will pick up the red buff. As Stern gets caught in the mid lane and Polymorph too. Round the back, Beaudilla's there. Even if Sternhawk escapes, he's got no Kraken to speak of. Houseplant getting very low in the back line too. Great Cataclysm to buy some time. Meanwhile, Hachi still farming the left-hand side. Snadows nowhere to be seen. As the whole of Cyclone are grouping up as an army to bring him down. If Snadows tries to jump, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a get over here real quick. And there it is. Back into his own ring. Back into his own death. Beaudilla brings him down 10-6 for Cyclone.
Every single ult, except for maybe 3 or 4, I think, from Benedict's side of things, has been defensive. That says a lot when a team can only ever ult to be defensive and look for an escape.
Cheeky 16.5-minute Fire Giant being attempted here. Daniel Perez is around. No ultimate available for him, though. But he's taking a ton of damage from the team as well. Fire Giant's getting low. Fire Giant goes to Benedict's Cavalry. They steal it away. It's Geb and Guan Yu, the only two standing. But it's enough to keep their team in it. Meanwhile, Hachiman has taken the tier 1 and should, with that Fire Giant, actually get the tier 2.
That's just a temporary cheer, I think, for Benedicts.
I don't know.
Even with the Fire Giant, only 2 members survived that have it, and it's the carries, the Poseidon and the Hachiman.
That's a good thing, though, right?
Normally, you would think so, but they're so far behind still. I'm just not sure that it'll really be the difference maker that Benedict's Cavalry are looking for at this stage, because Cyclone are still, while it's only a couple thousand for now, there's 3 T2 towers on the map.
Sure.
And with Fire Giant having just been taken, I am expecting Cyclone to still look to make an aggressive push into either the mid or the duo side T2 tower, because those are closest to the Gold Fury, and a one team fight under either of those structures means a free Gold Fury for everybody on Cyclone.
Well, let's see what Benedicts can do next now. They do have a bit of a power play. The towers that Cyclone look to take down are tier 2s, so they are very deep in Benedict's territory. This Gold Fury coming up, the Primal Fury, is about to spawn, and this could be a big play for both teams here. It shows Cyclone still have the lead and are in control if they get it, but there's a chance for Benedicts to show that they can fight now. They might be able to get some confidence behind themselves, specifically after stealing away that Fire Giant. I'm not even sure who got it. I'm gonna say it was Guan.
It looked like it was Snadows who managed to steal it away at the last second.
Oh, was the Odin there?
Odin was there.
Oh, my bad, I didn't see that. I always saw it was Geb and Guan. I didn't see the Odin was even there. We'll find out.
Oh, wait, no, it wasn't Snadows. Yeah, I think I just mistook his...
The name, because he played at game 1. Yeah, that's what I was doing too. Knock up on Beaudilla, not enough to slow him down, really. Whirlpool was there, but it's not going to stop anyone. Mid lane, though, the ring is down, and Snadows has got Orignalspartan trapped in, but he's ringing around the roses, and he's fine. Argus is out, too. Mystic Salmon jumps into the whole team. He's in trouble now as the Guan Yu and the baby's going to start slamming down on his face. Big old shield coming out from Geb to keep him alive, but it won't be enough to stop this Salmon from running. SmiteVOD gets the kill on Houseplant. Meanwhile, Perez still trying to pick up Spartan. The minions will do the work for him, but he should pay with his life too. The silence was trying to buy time for Axiom to find the basics, but he couldn't thread the needle. SmiteVOD blinked on by Snadows, and that'll be him down too. 2 for 2, and on March Cyclone.
It's like nothing ever happened. Axiom is still full health, although half mana, but that's all that they need. They get the T2 tower. They ultimately win on the team fight because of sieging that T2 tower.
You called it, Taco.
And they're about to expand the lead even further if they're able to pick up this Gold Fury.
You did call it. You were saying, like, even though they got the Fire Giant, even Stern's still got it around his waist right now. But even though they stole away that Fire Giant, you didn't think it was going to be enough for them to turn this around. And for the first time ever, a caster has been accurate, and it's now the gold lead goes over about 4,000. Snadows trying to do what he can on this right-hand side, but a quick TP out of Beaudilla will make sure that doesn't happen.
I think the other thing, too, is even with Stern having gotten the Fire Giant, his itemization choices have definitely not boded well for him this game. I mean, we saw the initial boots rush, and then he went for this thing that we saw Orignalspartan do last game.
Yeah.
Where he picks up the blessing after the fact. I'd have to imagine for gold only. And yeah, into the... Well, no, that's Spartan that went for the Book of Thoth.
I mean, they must be
But I'm talking about Stern going...
right.
The Spirit Mag is the right choice there for Poseidon. But why the Demonic Ring after the fact? Because if you're trying to boost your abilities and then you go to boost your attack speed, and it's like he's splitting himself and seems to not really be able to make a decision. Demonic might have just been a force buy because he's been so stripped of gold from losing so much farm on the map and consistent invades out of Cyclone that he just felt like, I just need an item that is going to be affordable for me at where I'm at right now. But
well, I mean, now he's going Gem of Isolation next on this Poseidon, and that's where it gets awkward because he feels like he went pen early. Gem makes perfect sense, don't get me wrong, but like you said, the grip with that as well causes problems. A lot of focus on the Houseplant, who is still alive for the time being. Daniel Perez went into August, beating down Geb, won't be enough for the kill. Mystic Salmon actually using the Ijutsu there just to try and buy an extra window as well. But at the end of the day, everybody survives, but a couple of relics used and ultimates too.
It kind of hurts my soul, though, to see 3 ultimates get dumped onto a Geb.
If I'm the Geb, I'm okay with it, right? Like, that's a good thing for me.
Well, if you're the Geb, of course, but why, when you have such a massive lead like this, why would you waste 3 perfectly good ultimates on a level 14 Geb that, even if you do kill him, you're probably going to have hurt yourself in the process because you have to commit to that with the 3 carries that they were trying to use for it. It just felt weird. It just seems like Cyclone could have definitely had better target selection out of everyone on Benedict. Any other person on that team dies, I think, but not the Geb.
Not the Geb, no, and it won't be the case. But here we go, once again, Pyromancer has spawned. That's going to be taken down relatively quick by Cyclone. No real surprise to see Benedicts not contest that. Most teams do give up the Pyromancer unless there's a cheeky window there for him to look for a steal. But the game's in a sort of similar state to what it was before Cyclone let Benedict steal the Fire Giant away. This next Fire Giant is still a normal one. It's not an enhanced one just yet, as it's not the 25-minute mark.
Now, it'll be a little bit longer until you see the enhanced Fire Giant, because I think we're going to see one of these teams, most likely Cyclone, pick up the first Fire Giant, or this Fire Giant. Can't really call it the first one because that first one already got stolen away around the 16-ish minute mark. But Benedicts, if they're able to take this Fire Giant, that's the delay of game that I think they're looking for.
Spartan caught on his own again, has to do his best to juke around and buy time for his team to rotate. Beaudilla on the way, as is JoltakFromXbox on the Ganesha. Perez under pressure, eats a bit of damage, but heals it back up. Beaudilla forces out Houseplant on the backside as this chase onto Snadows still continues, trying to whack away with August, and August doesn't care about anybody apart from the Guan Yu for a second, but Houseplant again pulled in! The Kraken connects on multiple members of Cyclone, but it's not enough damage. MySweetPatato picks up the kill on Houseplant, and now the chase is on for the rest of the team. Snadows has to leap away, no ultimate available from Sweet Potato this time round, as the tier 2 was already taken in mid, so Cyclone's pressure here is good, but it's not getting them anything just yet.
I think the best part about that engagement was the fact that they were able to force Sternhawk's Kraken. They needed to take out that Kraken before they started working away at this Fire Giant, because otherwise, that's the guaranteed form of contest that you do not want to see your team losing things to. And Orignalspartan probably wishes that he had him in the frontline member here. Joltak does have a Phantom, but he only applied it to himself.
So Fire Giant does go down, but can Joltak survive? Answer is no. Double kill for Snadows, which means it's only 3 members of Cyclone with this Fire Giant buff now. Benedicts can push down mid real quick with the minion wave they've got to get a tier 1 tower, maybe even threaten a tier 2.
I wanted to hope that the Phantom had been procced before Orignalspartan got trapped inside of that cage. But I'm pretty sure Joltak just missed procking a Phantom onto his teammate.
Oh, Beaudilla giving a beat down real quick to Mystic Salmon, but there's the Cursed Dog popped as well. Beaudilla's going to be careful because the anti-heal will cause him a lot of problems. AxiomSpeed and Aegis consumed, but still in the ring and now dead. Salmon gets the kill. Snadows does survive, leaping away as Sweet Potato trying to defend this tier 2. With Beaudilla as well, mana bar's looking relatively low from some of the members of Benedicts here, specifically the Poseidon. A Sweet Potato now collapsing. Joltak trying to help him out, or Houseplant I should say, with a great Cataclysm, actually turns it around again. Sternhawk gets credit for one of those kills. There's now Joltak back from base, and it's kind of a comedy of errors here. Benedicts wipe the team that had Fire Giant, and maybe able to get themselves a cheeky Gold Fury.
But the towers are still standing, and this Gold Fury, they were a little bit late to the party on this one, but with Snadows playing zone duty onto Orignalspartan, I think that they're going to be able to finally confirm a promising objective this game. Although it was just a standard Gold Fury, so no buff, no jungle buffs, no boosted minion waves. Just good old-fashioned gold in the pocket here to go and spend back at home. But it's very well-needed gold.
I will say, Taco, I'm quite impressed with Benedict's Cavalry's performance overall today. Obviously, Game 1, it went away from them a little bit. In Game 2, they've definitely got a lot to work on. But what they are doing is competing against a team that's a little bit more established.
The big thing for me is that there's obviously a lot of potential with this Benedict's roster because they're definitely not capitalizing or timing their fights around objectives like you would expect to see from a team like Cyclone. It's a little bit more experienced, but the fact that they're still hanging in the team fights, I think, says a lot here because they have had to scrap every little bit of this map that they possibly could from what was left over. They were already digging for scraps, and then they had to get the scraps of those scraps for those carries, and it was just insane to think how much of this map they 4 to 5 man split looking for farm. So it is impressive that they have lasted this long from how bad this start looked.
And if you look at how the game's gone and continued, Daniel Perez has actually out-leveled MySweetPatato in the jungle now as well. 2-level lead from a team that's been at a deficit since the start of the game as well.
Well, MySweetPatato has had a very tough time here using Gravity Surge on anybody else but Geb.
Yeah, and Odin. They're the only two I've seen.
And
really
I think that is where he started to really begin to fall behind. He's still under the impression that it's the tanks that they want to kill, but I think his team is just praying that the next Gravity Surge is going to be onto a carry.
Now, there is 3 tanks on Benedict, so I do understand it a little bit because you've got a Geb, a Guan, and an Odin to deal with. Getting rid of one of them does help, but it's obviously the carries you really want to prioritize.
But it's a Geb. it's a
Geb.
Geb almost every time.
That is true. Snadows gonna meet Sweet Potato and force out Suku for a second or two. Leap will be used eventually. Snadows gonna give chase, however, look to drop the ring down and does so. Round the corner comes Houseman and the cavalry charge too, but the Feather Step avoids the cavalry charge. He can't avoid the Cataclysm, however, and eventually Sweet Potato does go down, but the fight afterwards could go a different way.
Beaudilla just giant baby roaming every way. Curse Dong has been applied, though, so that's going to make him want to get out for the moment. Sternhawk, though, still looking to move forward. Kraken straight onto Joltak. That'll be another easy pick for Benedicts, and it seems as though Cyclone's just falling apart one by one.
Cyclone are going in like dominoes right now, and Benedicts are picking them up, but now Snadows may have overextended. He's beating an Axiom, and Axiom's not realized it until it's almost too late. Has to run away, but a leap over the roof from Snadows is good. Followed by the slow, followed by the ring, too. Big old polymorph, though, slows it down a little bit, but Salmon still picks up Axiom. And after the fact, Sternhawk picks up Beaudilla, and Orignalspartan is the last man standing for a moment or two. He's doing great damage, though. Ultimate's up relatively soon. He's just going to keep on standing for now, as multiple members of Benedicts are very low.
Orignalspartan now looking to give chase to Snadows. Blink over the wall, but he was not expecting the Argus right on top of him. Daniel Perez going to come in second. No. He's low too, but Orignalspartan knows he's just got to keep running.
One-man army takes down 2, looking for a potential 3rd. No, he'll slip the net. Too many low health bars. And Spartan's not done, actually. He's going to go back in. He's being cheeky, looking for a double poly. Gets one. Doesn't get the Aijutsu Mystic Salmon. And Sweet Potato with Suku back from base picks up another. They chased the Spartan, and they met Argus.
It seems only fitting that MySweetPatato uses his ult again on the Geb.
I mean, that was
But that's the first time it's actually killed him.
That's true.
So that's improvement. And I understand, but the biggest thing to look at here, Hindu, none of that just took place for Benedicts should have ever happened to begin with.
You called this about this team of like they're not on the same page, and it clearly showed in that fight against Spartan, just on his own. There was all four of them at least were there. And Snadows goes aggressive. The rest of the team are kind of like, do we base? Do we farm? What do we do?
We should do the tower is what someone else should have said.
But then what they ended up doing is chasing Spartan, and 2 of them dying because they invested too much. Cyclone now in a power play again, even though Benedict's won the fight. The Fire Giant is slowly trickling down. Sternhawk down to half health already. Good work from Spartan and Sweet Potato to do that. And with that, the Fire Giant should eventually go down. I don't think anyone from Benedicts will get in range in time. Cyclone get their 2nd of 3 Fire Giants of the game. And now we see if they can get some towers.
And this is where it kind of hurts to see for Benedicts, because in my mind, what should have taken place after they got those 3 beautiful picks, leave Spartan alone, who cares? Maybe if Snadows wants to chase him to zone, go for it. Go crazy. But you don't need the entire team to peel away from a T2 tower that should have been a free 1,500 gold for the boys, and then they could have backed, bought some items, reset, and looked for a possible pressuring at the Fire Giant. Their team fights have gone so well because Cyclone, I think, have been dropping the ball lately, and then Benedicts just, they see Cyclone drop the ball, and they pick it back up, and instead of taking it home themselves, they're like, here you go.
Butterfingers, that's what it is. They pick it up and then drop it again themselves. A couple of mistakes from both teams, but that's what you kind of expect in the first week. Both teams trying to adjust with new rosters, new teammates, and exactly what the meta is going to be of Season 6-2. Cyclone still have the lead, though. They've got this game by the scruff of the neck, so to speak, and have about 6,000 gold lead now. Just 2 Tier 2 towers remain. This left-hand one relatively weak already, so it shouldn't take too long, and I don't expect much of a defense out of Benedicts.
This is going to be a great review match, or review set for Benedicts Cavalry, though, and I'm really excited to see how this team develops throughout the remainder of the season for the Console League, because Benedicts, I still can't say it enough. I think this team has a lot of potential if they are doing this well to hang in team fights. Their brawls are beautiful.
Agreed.
It's just their decision-making outside of team fights that has a lot to work on.
And after being around this game for so long, I've got a feeling Cyclone might be like, oh, don't worry about it, you know, we weren't warmed up and stuff. But I think if they rest in their laurels with the mistakes they've made this game, they could have struggles later on this season if they keep making them thinking it's all sunshine and rainbows. We can afford to make mistakes and not get punished, because they will eventually. And this is where we're at now. Cyclone on the left-hand side looking for the Phoenix push. No pressure in mid or in the solo lane now, so a straight-up 5-on-5. Cyclone's still confident in trying to aggress this. Minions do help with backdoor protections a little bit, but they're really set up for a long siege here. And you can see Sternok off to the side. Ring is dropped down. That'll force out the Phantom, and everybody walks away for now. Beaudilla actually popped his ultimate a little bit early. Now gets anti-heal too. Argus drops onto Mystic 7 in the backline. As in, they pull once again. Snadows, who's a tank, still alive is the Odin for the time being. To the backline they go, looking for Daniel Perez, who was in very deep, but he slips the net again too. Phoenix now being hit.
Blink for blink exchange between SmiteVOD and the Odin. Left-hand Phoenix will end up falling, however, as Sternhawk tries to make his way back into the fountain. MySweetPatato going real deep, but by himself again. No one there to play backup, so the Awilix will end up falling. But Cyclone already got what they were after to begin with, Hindu. They took down that left-hand Phoenix. Now Benedict's Cavalry's Titan is exposed.
So I was just trying to get the ring on it. He gets it onto Original Spartan. Spartan has no ultimate for quite a while this time round. And 5 members of Benedict's Cavalry are here. Spartan drops down quick, and now Ganesha's trapped in an awkward spot inside the Whirlpool too. Will dash away, but for how long is the question? The answer is not very far at all. Meanwhile, the rest of the team scattering. Axiom may slip the net away from Snadows on the left, but Snadows will at least pick up the red buff, and its turnaround again is now a tier 2 being assaulted by Benedicts.
People are going to start to think that... I was going to say, this is going to be a T2 push into a failed Phoenix siege.
I think they should get a Phoenix here.
I think they might not. I think they're going to try to look for picks instead of attacking the Phoenix straight up.
From Snadows, ring down onto Axiom. Axiom though picks up Sternhawk before he can get anything else off, so they'll trade themselves out. Phoenix still alive, 2 people trying to whack away at it, as now SmiteVOD respawns once more. Phoenix is at like 5% health tops, but it's still alive. The minions are doing God's work at blocking as many as he can, but the Phoenix does go down as Snadows pull back in again, leaps away after the fight. The gravity surge now down, and Cyclone get punished for overextending on the Phoenix. With SmiteVOD dying, everybody falls back, and Cavalry answer back with their own Phoenix.
Cyclone also were very lazy about how they chose to disengage. They see MySweetPatato get picked, and they assume that that's the end of it, because they started looking for Benedict's buffs in the jungle, which is how Orignalspartan winds up getting caught out. He should have been long gone and back to base by then, but was still lurking around trying to see if he could take away Stern's red buff. And he found it, but at the cost of his life. And it's a trickle-down effect from there. Mid-lane siege, and I'm glad that Benedict just chose to run it down mid, because I think I would have lost my marbles had I seen them do anything else.
Well, as it stands now, there's a bit of a goal lead for Cyclone still, but it's not doom and gloom. Everyone's pretty much 6 items at this stage. We're almost at the stage where we can start talking about the potion of speed, or the elixir of speed, whatever it's called right now. whether we'll see any of those. The map situation is ever so slightly favoring Cyclone at the moment, and that's just because it's the left-hand Phoenix that's down for Benedict's Cavalry, which is a harder Phoenix to defend than the middle lane.
Always a little bit more difficult. At least for the mid lane, you have the leisure of switching in between, clearing out fire waves in mid, and then defending the fire giant. And these are enhanced fire giants as well, so that's something important to keep in mind. This fire is going to be incredibly hard to confirm. Both of these carries don't have crit-based builds, so it's not dropping at a rapid rate. This is going to be something that these teams are going to have to either hard commit to the fire giant or hard commit to the team fight for.
Do they need to send Odin to the left-hand lane right now, Benedict's here, just to defend these minion waves coming in? Oh, it looks like they're going to send Poseidon, I guess? Yeah. Who's the player that you call for here? I'd look at TP, right?
You'd have to look for your solo laner there most of the time. I think that by sending the Poseidon, Benedicts have indirectly announced to Cyclone, this is your fire giant to try and take.
I don't know, Snadows is in there, gets knocked up. The fire giant is still leashed at the moment, doing some relatively good damage as Perez from the backside. Poseidon now on the rotation from the left-hand side of the map to join the rest of his team. But Beaudilla's already taken a bit of poke damage there already, has to use the ultimate. Phantom already used. Small wins, I'd say, for Benedicts here, as now they'll have that ultimate up from Odin a little bit earlier than that of the Vamana.
Overall trade so far, the Vamana not having the big baby form is going to be problematic, I think, in terms of survivability, but AxiomSpeed has taken so much damage from the fire giant. He's half health because of fire.
And Sternhawk has had to leave this fight once more to defend the left-hand Phoenix. So at the moment, there's a bit of a power play for Benedicts now if they can clear out the left-hand Phoenix, because middle lane is where the action is going to be. But Axiom's still getting pressured here, now stuck in the ring. Where's your Phantom now? The Argus will come into play, but doesn't do a whole lot just yet as Mystic Salmon drops the banner onto Axiom's head. Over the wall, SmitePatato does pick up a wild ride onto Snadows, but that's still a tank.
He's still a tank, but MySweetPatato at least saved his carries from getting hit by that instead. And the Kraken is good. Beaudilla forced to back off. Fire minions coming in through as well from the mid lane. Orignalspartan's Argus going to be called back. And just like that, both sides left to go home and lick their wounds.
Game's still going for now. This middle Phoenix will respawn, and that should be okay. But Benedict see a window. They don't go for Fire Giant there. A couple of members wanted to return to base, get a couple of wards too. Surprised Odin. Snadows definitely needs to pick that up. Picking up wards is important, okay? Just make sure you realize that for next game, because there's no way you should be coming back to base at 38 minutes and not having a ward in your inventory to make sure we got more on the map. Gold Fury, however, does go to Benedicts, so there's a bit of gold there, which will help towards getting a couple of more potions. Guan just sold 2 items there. Going to switch it up a little bit. He sold his boots off, picked up the wing blade. What else is he going to go for?
He's already got double hammer time.
He had that earlier on, but he's going to go with the Masamune as well. There's the speed elixir picked up and popped for Daniel Perez. So that's going to be a relatively quick little Guan Yu. Well, so to speak, because he just lost Talaria boots, which were a little bit more movement speed than you'd expect.
You know what I'd really like to see is MySweetPatato to get rid of the stone cutting sword and get a Titan's Bane or something a little bit more efficient here. I don't think that this is one of those games where you're going to sit there on Awilix having the time to auto-attack anybody. I think we've only seen him auto-attack on a few odd instances. And Awilix is somebody who can afford to buy the stone cutting sword when the enemy team doesn't have nearly as much interrupt. And against 3 tanks, essentially, Odin, Guan Yu, Geb, you don't want Stone Cutting Sword. You want a Titan's Bane because you want your abilities. You want your Feather Stab, your Moonlit Charge, and the Gravity Surge to be your big boons of damage.
Will help a little bit, I guess, overall. Yeah, we'll see how this works out as the game continues, if he does indeed change that up. 40 minutes. Fire Giant is alive. It is the enhanced version once more. Both Phoenixes have respawned now, so a relatively even game between the two. And it's going to be whoever makes the biggest mistake around the Fire Giant. And to be fair, it's Cyclone that have made some bigger mistakes in team fights. It's Benedicts that have made, well, the mistake of not capitalizing on those team fights they've had.
Enhanced Fire Giant feels more like a trap for both of these teams than an objective at this stage, because when you're 40 minutes deep into a match, Hindu, everybody knows how long those respawn timers can be. And at this level of play, if you lose 1 or 2 members, that could very well be the end of the match.
I don't even see the idea of sending Vamana to the left-hand lane here from Cyclone just to keep the pressure going. But Odin ring is down, Phantom used by Ganesha as Beaudilla still tanking up the front line.
Beaudilla on the run right now, but Snadows is going to be the one in danger. He's unstuck in that polymorph form, still trying to get away. Gravity Surge is good, though, to bring him back into the fray, and Snadows will be the first to fall.
Oh, the stun around the back from Perez was good on the cavalry charge, but it wasn't good enough to stop the onslaught from Cyclone. Tier 2 tower should be falling, but with AMC not hitting it, it will take a little bit longer. There we go. Axiom and the squad of Cyclone still 5 strong. Don't look towards the Phoenix. Instead, looks like a cheeky fire giant play, maybe?
That's all they needed. They got the pick. He's dead for 40 seconds plus. If Benedicts want to come and try to contest this and rely on that enhanced fire giant damage to do the work, go for it. But this is risky business here, Hindu.
Fire giant should already be dead before cavalry get here at the moment. SmiteVOD is doing good work and slowing them down. Fire giant's still taking a very long time to do. Still no one from cavalry will notice it. In the end, Joltak will die to the Kraken from Sternhawk in trade, but that's still a good trade if the support goes down.
If Sternhawk had ulted the Fire Giant instead, he steals that for his team.
But could he get enraged? I don't think they had
I think he could have made it. I think that
I think so too.
They were scared of whether or not Cyclone would try to peel out the objective, but by the time you see that Fire Giant at 30-40%, the team is no longer interested in peeling off of it. Or if they are, that's a bold decision, because what's to stop the enemy team from running in and cracking it? I think that Sternhawk just didn't want to take the chance, and it's the hesitation that kills.
Hold up, has this game been going so long that Geb and Ganesha both have the potions of speed?
Possibly.
Wow. I've not been in a game that's lasted that long for me to be able to get that yet, because I've been buying wards all day. Like, as a support player myself, I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive.
I think my longest Season 6 game so far is 74 minutes.
74? Did you win?
Yes.
Ah, damn.
Did it hurt and feel like winning? No.
No, it never does.
It doesn't feel like anything past, I think, 40. No, I take that. Anything past 34 minutes right now, it doesn't feel like you're winning
it's more
in
like
a ranked
relief,
game.
Right? It's
Yes.
more like relief of, oh, thank God that's over. It would have been worse if you lost, but still the same.
I don't know. I still lost my mind.
Well, realistically, we've had about a killer minute so far, so it's not too bad in the stage of team fights and fighting. But I don't feel we're any closer at the moment to working out who should win this game. Cyclone have been the aggressors from the onset, but the amount of mistakes they've made have just keep giving Benedicts a window to stay in this game.
But to their advantage, Cyclone, enhanced fire gem, we've talked about it today already.
Yep.
50% backdoor protections are ignorable now, and that is huge because it means your carries don't necessarily need a creep wave in order to deal damage to these structures, and Axiom already has a pen-based build. He's relying on his attack speed solely from this Crusher, it seems, and his Stinger hurts. He is half-healthing Sternhawk or Mystic Salmon if he connects with that.
Definitely. The one thing I'm looking at more and more is Snadows on this Odin. If you can get in, get the ring down and force the Phantom, then look for a later on in the fight getting it down again. That's a good little play. It's worked out a couple of times for Benedict so far. Sternhawk, Whirlpool doesn't really find a mark. Snadows only traps in 2. One of them is Orignalspartan, who gets the Phantom from Joltak. Beaudilla on the front line trying to beat people down and force them back a little bit more. But Mystic Salmon now has that Odysseus bow that is slowly whittling down the front line. Argus dropped onto Sternhawk, and straight after the fact, SmiteVOD is there to secure the kill. Kraken no more. Kraken be gone. Phoenix be gone. Cyclone take down and push on into the base.
Great Cataclysm, though, going to catch MySweetPatato at the very end. He just charged forward off of Suko for the dismount, but the Cataclysm catches him right at the tail end of it, so he couldn't find the Feather Step to confirm Mystic Salmon.
Argus going to tank up as much as he can before the rest of the team pull aggro. Daniel Perez silenced to high heaven at the moment as Salmon trying to block as much as he can. Middle Phoenix is relatively low, but Axiom's trying to get some autos in there. SmitePatato goes in, pokes it with his stick, and that'll be enough for the second Phoenix for Cyclone on this push.
Third time's the charm, however, for Cyclone.
A little bit.
Possibly. This could end up costing them big, but they could also just run away or just completely bring down Snadows in a shatter of an instance, but Beaudilla will pay the price. Same for Joltak. Double kill for this Guan Yu jungle. at last. And Daniel Perez still looking to give chase to Axiom and Orignalspartan.
I think this squad could actually chase relatively well as well, Benedicts, but that was a nice little purple carpet of death that caused problems. Or really, it was Fist of Death from Orignalspartan. In the end, Benedicts won't be able to find anything here. They're looking towards the right-hand Phoenix, maybe? Is this a cheeky right-hand Phoenix? I like it, if that's what they've seen. There's a hell of a lot of minions on this right-hand side, but I think by the time they get there, Potato's already going to be back and have cleared them all out. So the window has closed on them. The Pyro was there. The potential Primal, or the Oni Fury, I guess, on that left-hand side was available. The minions have already gone. They're trying to backdoor this, and I'm not sure if they can do this. Bird Bomb onto Sweet Potato. There's the Argus as well, drop from Spartan. He gets a kill, and the run is on once again now as Benedicts have to turn tail and run away from Cyclone.
MySweetPatato, though, still wants to go in here. Gonna look for the Feather Step to immune the Guan Yu. The Kraken could not have been better placed right in between Orignalspartan
Good shield.
and the MySweetPatato. AxiomSpeed, though, is going to be the one to bring down Snadows, and all for naught there in the end.
I tell you what everyone gets frustrated about Hera for is not Argus. Everyone thinks Argus is a pain. It's that shield, man. Odin, Snadows got so baited by that shield of like, I'm going to kill him, and shield.
Argus hurts when you drop him initially, and the knockup is annoying as hell. The cooldown is, I think, what a lot of people tend to look at, though, for Hera. Argus cooldown is insane. Like, it is so difficult to prevent a team with a Hera from sieging at this stage because it's just up like every 40 seconds, it feels.
Credit where it's due so far, though, to Benedicts and how well they've done to stay in this game from the deficit they were once at.
I think that it goes both ways, though. This is definitely incredibly sloppy from Cyclone. I don't think this is a match that should have even lasted to this stage for how well they came out in the beginning. And I know that Benedicts have had their moments of promise where they have definitely managed to turn teamfights around that I was 100% dead set we're going to go a different direction. But that has mostly come off the back of Cyclone's mistakes and oversights, and that is something that a team with this much experience shouldn't be having problems with.
Well, right now, Cyclone are in a very dominant position. This Fire Giant will take him quite a bit of time to bring down, but if you look at the state of Benedict's base at the moment, you can see 2 Phoenixes down, Titan at under half health, I should say, and with a bit of a window still until those Phoenixes respawn. Benedicts just have to hold on and hope for the best on the defense. But even then, I think this is a tall order to try and defend the Titan if the whole of Cyclone just collapsed onto it.
Possibly so, but Cyclone took them so long. It's crazy to think that the left side Phoenix has nearly respawned since the last time Cyclone were up here. But I do like this from MySweetPatato. He's going to head on over to the left-hand side. As do Awilix, he's got Suku to get back over to the right-hand side pretty quickly. Not only that, but a couple of auto attacks, and that'll be the end.
Sweet Potato versus Sternhawk is also going on the left at the same time. Ring drop down by Snadows onto Axiom, who gets the Phantom and the Aegis away. Beaudilla goes into the ring to beat back the frontline carries of Benedicts for the time being as Mystic Salmon eats an Argus to the face. Sternhawk still trying to deal with Sweet Potato while this is all going on, but the Phoenix on the right has fallen, and into the base goes Cyclone, looking to finally, after such a long game, secure this one and take the 2-0 in the first week of Season 6 PlayStation.
There's going to be fire minions pouring in from 2 different lanes, and they don't even need to rely on that. The Titan was already sitting at around 30% HP from fire minions alone. That was Cyclone just making the right call there. They definitely had the game ender.
Performance was good overall from Cyclone, but was it good enough for the season? It's week 1, you know? They've got a lot to work there. What's the main things they need to work on now?
I think that it's just, for Cyclone, they definitely just need to be a little bit less cocky. I think that a lot of their stuff felt like overconfidence in a sense because of the fact that they, you know, they're the veterans, they're the ones with experience. This is a brand new PS4 team. Oh, we should take this one easily, guys. And that ended up not being the case, nearly getting this one turned on and almost all game 3 here. And
then Benedicts Cavalry, obviously there's a lot of them for them to work on, but where should their priority be?
Shot calling.
Shot calling, like one leader, mix the calls, and we all follow?
They need to designate a leader. I think that Benedicts Cavalry were just suffering from the fact that it felt like they didn't have a designated shot caller, and so a lot of their decision-making just felt more to the individual level as opposed to the team.
An interesting first day of PlayStation. Let's go to the desk to break it down before we move on to the other side of North America.
GG Cyclone, or Cyclone GG, whichever way you want to say it. That's the way it went. And shoutouts to, I'm looking at the middle lane. There's a lot of people to really celebrate here. A team win nonetheless.
That's true. Spartan played very well in game number 1 as the Giannis. Even better, I would say, on the Hera in game number 2. And what I'm really looking at was the Awilix pick there from MySweetPatato. Just doing a good job countering the Odin, making sure he wasn't going to pop off that game.
One of my favorite interactions in the game. Odin just wants to jump on you, and Awilix going to yank you out of the air. Takes away one of the fantastic ways to start a fight. Takes away a lot of different options. So a nice look there as we take a look at the numbers.
And something that SmiteVOD did at the very end, which was pretty nice, a little small technical play where he isolated the Poseidon in the mid lane while there was a 4-on-4 on the right side, Phoenix Siege, and with all the engagements between the Guan Yu ultimate and the Odin cage, without that Poseidon Kraken to follow up, that was an easy cleanup to confirm that objective and make sure that that 50% health Titan was just destined to crumble.
You talked about the Awilix interaction with Odin. Another reason that we saw the Ganesha pick up was because he was able to get out of the cage. But Awilix, baby, as I said, one of my favorite characters in the game, to be honest with you. Just a lot of different fun stuff you can do. This one, just kind of bread and butter.
Not too much setup in the world. Like, you're really only looking at the Vamana knockup, and then you got the self knockup. But then you also have to worry about Odin when you are trying to engage. So you're going to get countered pretty hard there using those immunity frames. You had to beads that because the Whirlpool cripple. So SmiteVOD just kind of showing off his mechanics there.
Yeah, that was really, really micro-intensive. Like to see that fun stuff coming out from Potato. And anytime anybody really wants to get technical, I'm on board. Another blink play, and doesn't even need the ult for that one. Sternhawk goes down, and it's all gravy. Nice fun stuff there coming out from Cyclone as they take this one 2-0 pretty quickly. First game, very, very fast, to be honest with you.
Second game, a little sloppy towards the mid portion there. They got that fire giant stripped away from them when they really thought that they would have had it. And that's something that they can clean up for the future games. But honestly, that game 1 performance was just solid. I'm not too worried about them in the future.
3 down, 1 to go. We've got 1 remaining set. It's Hype Unit. It's passion. You're not going to want to miss this. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.